Bienvenidos a Colombian Accents. Welcome. Bienvenidos.
My name is John Rendon. I'm teaching World Language Academy. I'm a fourth grade teacher, and I have been in dual immersion program for almost, I would say, like more than 12 years. Since I was teaching in Colombia, but there I was teaching the inverse that I teach here. Here I'm teaching Spanish. So I usually don't say to parents that I don't teach Spanish. I teach in Spanish, which makes a big difference. So I've been in WLA for almost, this is my fourth year in WLA, World Language Academy.
My name is Sandra. I've been a teacher for how many years? Like 16 years. But basically, I've been working with kindergarten and first grade kids. So not with the bigger kids. I love my babies. I also been teaching in dual language immersion. This school is special because we teach 90-10, 90% Spanish, 10% English. So basically they are immersed in the culture and in the language, in Spanish. So I have kids that they don't speak English at all. I mean, Spanish at all. And you have to see how they are now speaking Spanish. It's very impressive how they do it.
Yeah, they're very
and
fluent.
They are fluent and it's natural. So I feel blessed to be in this school.
So this whole thing, this whole pandemic crisis caught you guys in the last quarter of the school year, right?
Yep.
Yes.
What was that like?
Was sad.
Was sad, and I'm gonna tell you, we never expected to be as long as it really was, because they told us, I remember that Friday when they told us, okay, kids are going to go home maybe 1-2 weeks. So we didn't think that kids were going to be like such a long time and then finish school year at home. So we feel, like Sandra said, sad, because we really missed that part. Contacting with our kids and connection with our kids. We missed that part.
And we didn't have the time to say like goodbye. Like, if we knew like this was happening, we were giving them, like the final hug. I don't know, because right now, this week they were picking up and dropping off things, and we couldn't. It was, like they were in the car and we were like in the other way of the hall, and they were like apart. Yes. So we didn't get to like we just waving.
They don't even recognize you with that mask.
And we were in the mask and gloves, and so it was sad.
Of course. And then I imagine when you came home, you have to adapt to virtually teaching little kids. I mean, Sandra, what ages, your students, what ages are they usually?
I am a kindergarten teacher. I teach 5-year-old kids. So for my age, they were not used to technology. Like maybe John has 4th grade kids, like they are 9.
9, 10.
So, and they do a lot of things with technology, and we don't. So it was tough for us. And we were learning, and we were trying to teach parents how to use technology and the resources the school have. We have like a platform, it's a launch point, and they didn't use it for the little ones. So we had to send like every single instruction for every single thing. So maybe that didn't happen to John because, they were used to use the launch point system and the canvas, but we didn't. So kindergarten was tough.
Is this a private school? Is this a public school? What kind of school is this, guys, please?
It's a public school. Georgia, they have, I think they've been very smart and they've been putting a lot of effort in opening public schools in different languages. It's not,
not only
in Spanish, but they have, in different languages. So this is a public school, and it goes from K to 8.
Yeah, it's a lot of interaction with kids. Teachers from different nationalities. So it's just to expose kids to culture and the way they pick up Spanish from different culture. It make it even more interesting. And once they go to middle school, they have a different kind of projects. I know they have like a cafe. So there's a chef, it's a Colombian chef, and she teaches math and another different subject in Spanish, but at the same time, you're learning culinary and to really prepare good dishes for the customers that they go to visit the school.
They have a restaurant.
It's a restaurant. It's called
Mundo Cafe.
Mundo Cafe. So kids are really getting into being in the way to prepare food, to go on,
and the waitress,
everything.
And everything is in Spanish.
Yeah, it's all in Spanish.
When they take the menu, they speak in Spanish, and like it's the whole
it's
thing.
Total immersion.
It's a total immersion. Yeah, this school is amazing.
Yeah, I had the chance to go into the school Facebook page and I read some of the comments, and definitely that was the first thing that caught my attention. Some of the parents were talking about how their kids, how impressed they were when their kids would come home and just speak in Spanish naturally, which is what we try to achieve here in Colombia. But like what John was saying before, the other way around, we're trying for Colombian kids to just pick up English language and use it naturally here in our context. So how do you teach preschool kids virtually? How do you do that?
Okay, so it was a process, but then we knew about the Zoom because that's definitely the best tool we were using right now, like the way we are doing now. So at the beginning, we were trying to find like a way to see them again. And so at the beginning was teaching the parents how to get in there. So a lot of instructions. So finally, when we got in there, we set up the school. They set up like a different schedule for example, Mondays, they had class for math, social studies, science, and English. Tuesday, they have a different one.
No.
I don't remember.
No,
do you remember the schedule?
The way they set up the schedule, because it was like a whole county, they did it like that. On Mondays and Wednesdays, they work in reading, writing, everything in English. And then Tuesdays and Thursdays, they work in Spanish and math.
Spanish and math.
So, and they leave Fridays for catch-up activities. So it was, it make it more organized.
So we have this whole group Zoom. So I have the kids to, first I read the book and then I tried to plan a different activity so they could do it. But then I was saying, not all the kids, they were getting, like on Zoom. Or maybe they were there, but they were just doing something else. They were eating or they were playing with the toys. So it was really hard to keep them like focused. So it was hard. So I sat down and then I say I have to see or at least have small groups to have a more differentiated instruction for them. So I did the Sign Up Genius. I kind of organized my schedule, the times I was available. I sent those to parents and they sign up. So I know that time this student they were gonna be with me, and then I was doing my class, or it was a math class or the reading class, because I was really like focused on the reading part, because they were on a good routine. I didn't want them to lose it, so I really focused on the math and the reading part. So I had whole groups and also individual groups and small groups, like 101 instruction. But it was hard. I was working, I think it was...
Well, you were
Yeah, it was a lot. Because John, he had like whole groups because they were bigger kids, so they knew what they were doing, and they had a different strategy. But I in my case, I need them to be like with me and not the whole group. Whole group doesn't work with little ones. You need small groups or 101 group.
How about the role of the parents in the process, Sandra, with the little ones? And we'll get to you, John. We'll get to you in a minute. But what about the role of the parents with the little kids? How important is that?
They were very supportive. And even though I sent all the instructions, and I know they were asking, okay, because I sent the calendar for the Zooms. But I can't find it. But I sent the calendar for the Zoom meetings, and then I have to be patient too, because I try to be organized. Mm-hmm. But sometimes for them, I understand it's hard for them too. Not everybody's a technology person. Yes. So I have to start all over again and guide them, like you have to go here, go to the site, or go to the link that I just sent you. But but they were really supportive. Really, really supportive.
How about you, John? In your case, what was your experience like?
Okay, like Sandra said, we didn't have maybe the first week we have some problems with the activities that's been supposed to be done. So, but kids were exposed to a lot of other resources that we were using. Even though we were at school, they were able to use it when we were at school. Now that they were in this home school, it was a little like kind of easy for them. But the problem was that they didn't know what activities to do what day. So that's why whole county gave us this general schedule, and we use a lot of especially Google Education for have our Google Classroom and calendar and everything in there, so kids can go there and find the activities. Teachers, we made our instruction videos to really present to the kids how to do it. And also we have some, like Sandra did, like some Sign Up Genius to really give them feedback. And as a whole group, 4th grade, we meet every Wednesday, all 4 teachers with the students, to give them feedback, questions, and do something funny for them. So it was pretty nice. We learned a lot, because some of the resources that were new for us, like pre-made videos to upload it, make it easy for kids to understand. That was something new. And I think more than 85% of the students really participate. We have some that didn't, but we know that there were some specific cases with kids that don't have like internet, some kids that they have to be with somebody else taking care of them. So there were a lot of issues. Yeah.
How did you deal with those kids that actually, or that did not have internet connection or didn't have access to the resources? How do you deal with those cases?
Those cases, we have our counselor from school start to contacting them to really find out what was the really problem, and then try to help. Some of those kids were, they deliver like maybe activities to do, but at the end, we really being in their shoes. If they don't have access to internet, how else can be done? We try to understand, and also on top of that, think about parents that lose their jobs, and it's a really difficult situation that we need to really take in consideration. And that was a cool thing that at the end of the school year, our board of education said, look, this is out of our hands, but every kid needs to receive a pass, because the situation is something that we need to know, nobody was aware of. So we know that next year kids are going to be low, and we need to really push hard to really put it in like a kind of remediation program.
Yeah, in my case, I have only one student who didn't he didn't have internet. So our solution was to print worksheets, and they were delivered home. So at least he could do something. So we tried that part. And as John mentioned, we had some kids that parents, they kept working, and so they have to leave them with a grandma or with a neighbor. So we had to be flexible and set up later times for them to meet. I have students at 5, at 6. So I was meeting with them and then trying to, catch up and at least see how they're doing. And
in our case, in our case, like Sandra said, because I saw her working until very late with those kids, but in our case also, our school staff provide some EIP teachers or special teachers to really get in contact with those kids and work individually with those kids via Zoom. So it really makes a big difference, because sometimes it's hard to, in my case, I was with 81 students to really try to get in contact with all those really students that didn't get into the activities. But those teachers, because there only were like 8 students, so they go and work with those kids, phone calls or whatever, to get in contact with them. It was
the
really
RTI students.
Yes, to help them to really achieve their weaknesses and work with them.
And there was one person in charge of the RTI students. Do you know the meaning for RTI?
Yeah, the RTI is those students that really needs help with some of them in reading, some of them in math. So what those teachers were doing is trying to really continue with the intervention you were doing in the classroom to help them. So it was a really, really great help.
And also the ESOL teacher, he was contact those students who are in the program. So she had this meeting with every single student during the week. Also, we have at the parapros, because in kindergarten we have a parapro. She was helping the kids who were having problems with, in my case, with the syllable. So she was.
Yeah, the RTI is those students that really needs help with some of them in reading, some of them in math. So what those teachers were doing is trying to really continue with the intervention you were doing in the classroom to help them. So it was a really, really great help.
And also the ESOL teacher, he was contact those students who are in the program. So she had this meeting with every single student during the week. Also, we have at the parapros, because in kindergarten we have a parapro. She was helping the kids who were having problems with, in my case, with the syllable. So she was doing like remediation with the lower kids. So even though we were not in there, we can see like the kids that participate, they didn't get behind. They have a lot of opportunities
a lot of support.
And support to keep improving and learning.
Awesome, awesome. It sounds like you guys actually do have a lot of support from the school district and from the school administration, from the parents. Are you planning to do e-learning in the fall?
We don't know yet, but we were talking about getting prepared
Yes.
for if we are not, we don't know yet,
Nobody
like
knows.
if we're starting just right with the kids, or we are working with A day, B day, some students in Monday, some students, or if we are starting like online e-learning.
Nobody knows
But
yet.
if we start like a normal, so we are trying to work in a way we can prepare them to, because it's a possible outbreak again in the fall or in
Winter,
the
we don't
winter.
know.
So we have to prepare parents, and right now we are receiving extra support from Canvas. It's
Yes.
like the program they have. What's the it's a platform they use, and they want us to everybody work on that platform. Nah, they don't want a Google Class. They just want to work on that one. So now we are receiving training, and we are it's being trained for that, and they want us to start preparing parents for a possible e-learning.
How have you? What changes did you have to make, and what changes are you still making so that you can fit in social emotional learning in your classes?
In my case, and that is why I think I did the 101, the Sign Up Genius, because it was the time I have to talk to them and to see them, and because we were talking, about school, but then also I was talking to them, to the parents. It was, for me, it was a good thing to do. Also, when we were working on games and, like try to have fun with them, have them to show me what they're doing, send a picture, and then you give them like a feedback and say, oh, you did great, I'm proud of you. When they were reading at home, and because when they read at home and they record, I can see how they were reading. So there's a square you can write your comments, and then you send the comments so they can read them at home. So I'm proud of you. I'm very proud of you. You're reading very good. Keep it up. So it's right to make, like to keep that connection with them and don't leave them because you are in one place and you are in another place, but then you have this computer. And there are many ways you can, keep that social, emotional connection with them.
I think in fourth grade is the same. We're trying to really get in contact with those kids as much as we can. But they're still missing a lot of things, like, because we are very mean, hey, how are you? And kids also love to do that. And I remember last Friday when I was time to see them for last day, some of them sitting in the car crying. And that really breaks my heart, just to see them. And then, hey, but we're gonna see you next year in fifth grade. You're gonna always walking in the hallway, remind me to say hello. But they were crying. It was tough just to feel that kind of pain, because it was really different for everybody, and those kiddos were like really feeling. I think the same way we as the teachers did. If you talk to any teacher, they're gonna say the same thing. There's a lot of piece missing there, like real interaction. Because here you can talk with them, you can, say so many things, but still missing something. You're just the fact that you were standing in front, looking at their eyes, and it's that part.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for sharing. Thank you so much, really. I wanted to ask you something, changing a little bit here, the topic. You at home all this time, how do you deal with having so much to do, but at the same time taking time off the computer, like enough screen time, and then with your kids too? Because I'm sure being at home and all these changes, I'm sure that you yourself had to make changes also. What was that process like, and how is that still going? I'm sure, like having to live with your time management at home.
No. For me, it was awful, and sometimes I was saying, "Oh, it would be great if you work from home." Like it sounds fun. It's not fun at all, because I have a long schedule with my kids, with my students, but then I have to. Well, he helps me out, but then like mom is always rushing more than the others. So thinking, well, I'm gonna be preparing for lunch, and then like this is messy, and then so trying to get things. So for me, I don't like it at all. I'd rather to stay at school and then come back and then do my.
Yes.
I want my life back.
Yeah, and we try to at the end of the day, just because we cannot go like a park or whatever, but maybe here once in a while we walk here and we try to exercise, but then it's a lot of pollen, so we just get really sick. So that was another thing. So you see, we trying, and like Sandra said, I don't want her to be all the time here doing something. If I can help her in the kitchen doing something. Because, and like Sandra said again, we thought that work from home, that was really, it will be great, but it's not great. Because you work great. Like, doubled. It's it's harder. So, wow.
And then you realize that it's 7 p.m. and you're still working and doing things from school. And actually, when you leave the school at 3, you around 4, you're here, you cook, and then you relax. So it's more working.
Definitely, I'm with you guys on that. There are no boundaries, with time. Like before you wake up and you've been in a rush to get out of the house and sit on traffic, and then you get to school and then you do your things, right? But now it's like you wake up and all of a sudden, boom, it's time to be on the computer. And like, what?
Yeah.
Right. And then, this is difficult to manage your time at home. Definitely. All right, guys, thank you again for sharing. Very good. So before we let you go, guys, John, Sandra, you guys had the chance to work here in Colombia teaching English, right?
Yes.
And the struggle that many teachers go through here in public schools, in private schools, in English institutes, anywhere. We're always swimming against the tide for many reasons, usually culturally, because it's not the main thing to do here, right? But having said that, what would you recommend many of the colleagues out there that are dealing with young kids in primary and preschool and trying to do what you guys are trying to do with less resources, usually, not all the time, but usually? What would be your best advice for those colleagues out there that are listening and would like to know how to approach this huge challenge?
So I think my main advice will be flexible and try to play with your ideas, and you have to renew yourself, like you have to start thinking, so what's gonna work best for them. So that will be my advice. Don't think like this, what you're doing right now is the only choice you have. There are more different ways you can go and do with your kids, and try to make it fun. for them, because it's not easy for them, it's not easy for the parents, and it's not easy for us as teachers. So we have to reinvent ourselves and be very, very flexible.
And especially when you learn a language.
And creative.
Yes. When you learn a language, you have to keep in mind that you have to be flexible and you have to feel passionate about what you're doing. Trying to find different ways, trying to engage your students in, like Sandra said, if some strategy didn't work, there are tons of activities or strategies that you can apply. Just don't give up.
Yeah.
Don't give up, because I think learning a language, especially in Colombia, learning English, it will open a different kind of door for those kids. Because even though they are being really exposed to English with those media, there's a different kind of English that you see in the media that you see actually when you're teaching them and give them the tools to really express their thinking, not only to the teacher itself, but to the world. I mean, it's just don't give up. You really able to make a big change if you're a really inspired teacher.
Yeah. If you're passionate about what you're doing,
Yep.
you're
unstoppable.
You're unstoppable. The sky is the limit, how it says.
Yep.
One thing I want you to guys do before we leave, though, I want you to show me the background that you have. Because the whole conversation, you see shiny teeth.
Okay.
Let me
Let
see
me
Yeah.
show
that.
you.
It's an app.
It's an app. This is called Snap Camera. So you can download it and you can, let's see, for example, this. Let me see. Hold on. Do you see that?
Oh my God. Hold on, let me.
Nice, right?
It's like an Snapchat.
Yeah, you download it and then you can
Snap
just
camera.
put Snap Camera. So you download it and you can make it fun for the kids, especially when we have those.
Oh yes, that
meetings.
was another
They
thing.
love it.
We make it fun with the
Yes. So they make fun and we make fun with this and they were like, oh, how do you do that?
Hey guys, I like that app. Sandra, John, thank you so much for being with us, for sharing your time, your thoughts, your ideas, your advice. I wish you the best. Please stay safe and wash your hands and stay away
Thank
from.
you very much.
Yeah, practice social distancing as much as possible.
But
Yes.
here is not possible.
Thank you again, guys, and I hope to see you soon.
Okay, yes.
Okay,
please.
okay, for sure.
Thank you again. Bye.
Okay, bye.